Beginning the Gemara today towards the bottom of Nun Vav Amud Beis, 2 lines up from the bottom of the Amud. Okay, so the Gemara quotes what it said in the Mishnah here. Shloisha achin ve'echad, you have 3 brothers and then 1 more individual that's not a brother. Mitztaref iman, he could combine together with them to say eidos for a chazakah that has to be over 3 years. So you have each brother is saying eidos for another 1 of these years, together with another person that knows about all 3 years, and he's mitztaref with each one of the brothers to say eidos for the 3 years. So harei elu shalosh eidiyos. These are 3 separate eidos, 3 separate testimonies for the 3 years, and there's no issue of brothers that are pasal eidos to say eidos with each other, because each brother is saying eidos for another year, and for each year you have this other person that's saying eidos with him. But when it comes to Azama, though, the halacha of finding them to be pasal eidos and the halacha of kashazama, as the Mishnah and the Gemara explained before, there, when you mazim them all together, then the kashazama is by all of them together, and you split between them the punishment of kashazama. Okay, the Gemara is going to focus on the first part of this.
You should have done with all of them together. I mean, you have to
be mazim all of them together. That's all of you. Imanu yisim b'makom ploni, all of you. Correct. That's when there's the einish of kashazama, they wanted to take away from this person the ownership of the property. Okay, so the Gemara brings a case, a hushtar. There was a story, a case with a document that like every star has signatures. So there were 2 people, 2 Eidim signed on this star. Now, what's the halacha with a star? The Chachamim instituted that every star, in order for it to be accepted as a valid star in the Bezdin, you have to be mekayim it. You have to verify the signatures. And in order to verify the signatures, if these 2 Eidim are alive, it's very simple. Those 2 Eidim that actually signed it, they come into Bezdin, and each one says, this one says this is my signature, the other one says this is my signature, and that's enough to validate their signatures. Okay, but now though, what happens is, if these signatures of the Eidim that signed the star, they're not alive, then you need 2 Eidim to come and tell us that this signature is valid, and you're going to need another 2 Eidim to come to let us know that the other signatures is valid. In this case though, what happened over here is, Shochev Chad Minayu. One of the Eidim of this star died. You have now one of the Eidim that's alive and another Eid that's dead. So now that Eid that's alive can come into Bezdin and testify himself regarding his signature that this is my signature, and for that it's good enough. How about for the other signature? For the other signature, the other person that died, you're going to need 2 Eidim to testify for that signature. Okay, now the halacha is, this is the for the Hemshech of the Gemara here, you may think, now for the other signature, let this Eid that's still alive, that's testifying about his own signature, let him testify about the other signature together with another person that recognizes the second signature. And that's enough. So you basically just need 1 more person together with this Eid that's still alive to testify. But the Gemara in Ksuba says that you can't do that, because then it basically comes out that this star, you're being machsher, the star, and you're using the star to collect the money from the star. And the way it's working is, 1 Eid, you will machsher 3/4 of the star. And another Eid was you will machsher 1/4 of the star. Because 1 Eid said that his signature is kosher, and he also said that Eid is for the other signature as well. And then you had 1 more person that was machsher, that said Eid is together with him on the second signature. In such a case, the Rashbam brings that because the pasuk says Al Pishnayim Eidim Yokum Davar, which means that when you have 2 Eidim on any Davar, on anything that you're going to be relying on these 2 Eidim, has to be half is going to be according to 1 Eid and half according to the other Eid. In this case, when you're using this 1 Eid to testify about his own signature and also to testify about the other signature, so it comes out that there's 3/4 of the Eidos that's according to him and only 1/4 according to the other Eid. So therefore, that's not going to work. Okay, so what happens over here? So what do we have to do? So you have to have 2 Eidim to come and testify about the other signature. So now, the brother of this person that's still alive came, together with somebody else with him, to testify on the other signature that there is over here in the star. So now the question is, you have a brother that's testifying on the signature while the other person that's still alive is testifying on his signature. Could you have brothers testifying on the same shtar? So Ravina thought to say, yeah, you could. Hainu masnisin. It's similar to what it said in our Mishnah. Gimelachin, when you have three brothers, and each one of the brothers is testifying for a different year, for another year of the 3 years of the Chazakah, the Echad mitztaref iman, and the Mishnah says, as long as each brother is testifying for a different year, and you have another person that's not a brother, that combines to the aid of each year, and that could be accepted as an eidos. It's not an issue of having brothers that are testifying together. So here as well, you have one signature, that this live aid, he's testifying about his signature, and then you have a second signature, and his brother is coming to testify about the second signature together with another aid. So that's it's a different signature. So even though it's a brother, he can testify with someone else to verify that signature. Oh, Malay Ravashi. So Ravashi says to Ravina that no, over here you cannot apply what it says in our Mishnah. Midami, how could you compare? Hassam, over there, meaning in our Mishnah, Lo nafik nachi rivedim amayna apumedachi. You can't say that 3/4 of the money is being granted based on the edus of brothers. The words nafik nachi rivedim amayna means the whole entire money minus a quarter. In other words, 3/4 of the money. You can't say that 3/4 of the money is being given over here to this person based on the edus of brothers. Why not? What's happening over here? Each aid is saying, you have each brother that's saying edus for another one of the years. But with each year though, there's another person that's saying edus together with them for each year. So it comes out that these brothers, half of this edus is based on the brothers, and another half of the edus is based on this other person that knows about all 3 years. So it's 50% edus is the brothers, and 50% of the edus is this other person. So it's 50-50. In such a case, apishnayim edim yokum davar, it works 50% according to the brothers and 50% according to this person. Now the Rashbam explains here a fundamental point, that what the Gemara is saying is based on the point that when brothers say edus together, the Torah says that brothers that say edus together are apostle, because brothers are considered to be like one person. So that's why you can't say that it's two eidim. It's brothers, they're like one aid. So over here, when you have brothers that are saying edus for 3 years, these brothers that are saying the edus for the 3 years, there's like one person saying edus, and then you have another person that's saying edus also for all 3 years. So it's like, so you have exactly the way it's supposed to work regarding every edus, that it's based on 2 edus, and 50% based on the brothers that are like one aid, and another 50% based on the other aid, which is saying edus also for all 3 years. So it's perfect. There's not a problem with this. However, hacha over here, when it comes to the shtar, nafik nachi rivedim emayne, so we're taking out, or we're establishing a fact regarding money. So again, the type of nachi rivedim emayne means all the money besides a third, or besides a quarter rather. So that's 3/4 of the money that we're paskening over here, that the shtar is a kosher shtar, apumedachi, according to brothers. Because over here, in this case, that one aid that's not a brother, that's testifying together with the brother, he's only being used for a quarter of being machshir the shtar. You have one signature that would require 2 aidim, but you have now that aid that's alive, that's testifying himself on that signature. And on the second signature that requires 2 aidim, this brother, which is considered to be like one person with the brother that's alive, because again, brothers are like one person, he's testifying on the other signature, together with another aid. That means 3/4 of the kashrus of the shtar is according to the brothers. And only one person that's not a brother is speaking about just a quarter of the kashrus of the shtar. So in such a case, it's not al pishnayim edim yokim davar, half and half. Now, just to point out another important point here, when you get to the Pshat in this Gemara, this concept that I mentioned before, that Rashbam says that when you have brothers saying edus, and they're apostle, the Torah says brothers can't say edus, it's because that the brothers are considered to be like an eid echad. So the Rishonim point out that that's not really true regarding every case of edus of brothers. When brothers say edus and they're apostle edus, there's no edus here at all. Not 2 edim, it's not even an eid echad either. The edus is completely apostle. It's only in this kind of case that we use that Rashbam says this concept that when brothers are saying eidos, it's like it's one person. Because over here, really, the brothers are not saying eidos on the same exact thing. When you get to the Mishnah, the brothers, one brother saying Edis on the first year, the second brother saying Edis on the second year, and the second on and then another one on the third year, and the same regarding the shtar. One brother saying Edis on one signature and another one on a different signature. But Elamai over here, Benigeya, to the overall chazakah or the overall kashrus of the shtar. So even though you can't say the paslos of the way it is usually by brothers saying edus, that they're saying edus mamish together on one thing, but nevertheless we have to look at the overall establishing of the chazakah. That when we're using brothers to establish the chazakah, true, each for a separate year, but it's going to be considered to be like the brothers are like one aid. And then you have to look at the other person also as 1/8, and only if it's 50-50, then I say that the edus is going to be accepted. But in the case of the shtar, because it's 3/4 based on the brothers and one quarter based on this other person, so therefore here it will not take effect. So this Mishnah here now continues also with halachas of chazakah, but from here till the end of the Perek, the Mishnah shifts over to a little bit of a different din of chazakah. We had already mentioned this inyan before a few times in the Masechta. This is what's called cheskes tashmishin, a chazakah where you're using someone's property, and by using his property, and the person that you used his property did not protest, did not say anything about it, so that establishes a chazakah as well. That's what this Mishnah and the Gemara later following here is going to discuss. Now, regarding this halacha of this type of chazakah, which is called cheskes tashmishin. So first of all, there's a discussion in Rishonim whether you need to have also 3 years, that you're using someone's property for 3 years to establish the rights here, that I can put my oven here in your property, I can put my animals here, or you don't even need 3 years for that. Even just a short period of time that you used that property and the person was quiet, you can establish a chazakah. That's one machlekes. Here in the Rashbam, benegei to what it says here in this Mishnah, the Rashbam says that you have to have a chazakah of 3 years. Lav dafka, the Rashbam holds this benegei to all kinds of tashmishin. The types of tashmishin that the Mishnah will talk about here, these usages, the Rashbam says that the chazakah is established only over 3 years. There's also another thing that the Rishonim discuss regarding this kind of chazakah we're going to talk about here, whether it's similar to the chazakah of a karka. One of the basic rules that we learned before a few times where the chazakah of a karka is, you have to have a taina to explain how you got this karka. I bought it, I got it as a gift, I yashned it. If you don't have a taina, you can be there for 100 years. There's no chazakah. But by cheskes tashmishin, so from the Rashbam, from some Rishonim it's mashma also, you must have a taina. But other Rishonim say, many Rishonim say that just by using it, you can come and say that the person allowed me to use this place, he was meichel it to me. Never sold it to me, never gave it to me as a gift, but the very fact that he allowed me to use it is a mechila, and that mechila is enough that it becomes mine, that now I have the rights to use this place.
Not for ownership, just for using.
Yeah, correct. Here we're talking about a chazakah of tashmishin, of usage, correct. Rights to use, not ownership.
But if the owner sells it, he's not going to have the right to use it for the buyer.
Could be. I'm not sure what the halacha about that is. We'll have to see, because over there, I mean, when you sell, you only sell what you have. I'm not sure. Okay, Zok Deilige Mishnah, Elu Devarim Sheyesh Lem Chazakah. In the following things, when you're using someone's property, you could establish a chazakah. And the Elu Devarim Sheilem Chazakah. And the following things, if you use in your neighbors or someone's property, you will not have a chazakah. So the Mishnah begins with the cases where if you're using someone's property, you will not have a chazakah. You put your animals in someone's courtyard. Tana v'chayim, v'kirayim, or an oven, a mill, or a kirayim is a smaller oven. You placed it all in his chotzer, or either one of them in his chotzer. Or megadol tana gailim, you're bringing your chickens there in his courtyard. Or v'noisen zivloi b'chotzer, you put your fertilizer in his chotzer. All of these ain't a chazakah. The fact that you had it there and you were using his courtyard this way, this will not establish a chazakah by the fact that you use it. And again, according to the Rashbam, this is even over 3 years, and he was quiet about it. It's not a chazakah. These are things that can easily be moved out. And the reason why the other person was quiet is because right now he doesn't mind. He doesn't need that area. But as soon as he'll need it, and he comes after 4 or 5 years and he says, "Excuse me, take your stuff out of here." So then he needs it, and there's no chazakah for this. However, and here the Mishnah goes back to the first thing. What are the things that there will be a chazakah? Not only you brought your animals into his chatzar, you build a wall around it, of 10 tvachim, or v'chein letana v'chein lekirayim, you built a wall for your oven or a smaller oven that you had there, v'chein lerachayim, for your mill that you brought in there, or hichnis tarnagaylim l'toich habayis. You didn't bring your chickens only into his courtyard; you brought it into his house, which is obviously very disturbing. And he allows you to have his chickens your chickens in his house. Or va'asa makim lezivloi omek shloisha. You didn't just place your fertilizer there, but you built a sort of an area designated for it, a ditch that it's 3 tvachim deep that you can store your fertilizer there. Or gevaya shloisha, or a place that's higher up, 3 tvachim, a wall around it, that to keep your fertilizer there. So here you're building already something in his property more permanent, not something that you can pick up and just take out at any time when the person wants. Here, if he's quiet about this, it'll be a chazak, and according to Rashbam, after 3 years. Okay, but the Gemara does not accept so simply here the difference between the Reisha and the Seifa. Frag the Gemara, Ma'ishna Reisha or Ma'ishna Seifa. What is the difference between the Reisha and the Seifa? Why do we say in the Reisha that there's no chazakah, bringing your animals, your chickens, and different things into his courtyard, and in the Seifa, when you're building something more that's there permanently, there will be a chazakah? What's the difference? The Rashbam says the fact is, the derech of people is to be makpid. If somebody randomly from the street comes and puts something into your courtyard, animals, whatever it may be, even if it's something that's not established and not permanent, and you can just take it out whenever the person wants. But if someone comes into your private house and starts storing things there and putting things there, even if it's not a wall that he's building, the owner definitely will be makpid, and if he was quiet, it should be a chazakah as well. So why in the Reisha is it not a chazakah just like the Sefer? So the Gemara has a few answers. So first Ula tries to answer and says, the rule is as follows. Kol she'ilu b'nichse ager kana. Any kind of action that you do in the property of a ger that died, and now you want to create a kinyan of chazakah, to acquire it. So any action that you do in this kind of property to acquire, kana b'nichse chaverai. When it comes to your friend's property, and you're not trying to acquire, but you're trying to establish a chazakah, where because you used it over a period of time, it proves that it's yours, it'll also be kaina. But on the other hand, call any kind of action, she'ilu b'nichse ager loy kana. If you do this kind of action in the property of a ger, it will not create an acquisition, it will not be kaina. B'nichse chaverai, in order to establish a chazakah of usage that we're talking about over here, that it's yours and your friend's chatzer, loy kana, you will not be kaina. So what's all they're trying to say? That in the cases where you go and put your animals, your chickens, or your zevel, or whatever it is in your friend's property, you didn't really do any improvement in the property itself. So in a property of a ger that's now hefka that you would want to be kaina, that's not a kinyan. And over here, in order to prove and establish your rights of usage here, it will also not work. Mashenkin in the Sefer of the Mishnah, where you're building a wall, so you improve this property over here. So therefore, that's going to be kaina for nichse ager. And also for establishing your rights of usage in this property, it'll also be a chazakah. That's the rule. Okay, yeah, it's and a chanami. The connection is hard to understand, and not only that, the Rashbam points out the Gemara could have immediately asked from the case in the Sefer where it said that if you bring your chickens into the person's house, it will be a chazakah. Now, b'nichse ager, that doesn't create any kinyan because you didn't improve his house anyway. You just brought chickens into the house. Elamai, the Mishnah says it'll be a chazakah for usage because it's very annoying to the person, and the fact that he was quiet, that means that he must have been Michael. He gave you the rights to be there. But the Gemara could have asked that question. The Gemara asks another question, though similar from what we already learned before. This rule cannot be true. The Gemara asks, Maskafla Rav Sheishes. So Rav Sheishes asked, Ola, Klalahu, this is the kind of rule that you're making this comparison of being kaina, property of hefker, to establishing a chazakah to use someone's property. V'harei nir. When it comes to plowing a property, the b'nichse ager kana. To acquire a property of hefker, you will be kaina because you improve the property. But to establish a chazakah, whether rights of usage or a chazakah that you bought it, over there it's not going to be kaina. The Gemara already said earlier in the Perek that if you go and plow someone's property and you do that 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, you're not kaina because the owner says, I had no reason to be meicha. You're preparing my property, you're plowing it, then I can go ahead and plant, you're just doing me a favor. And on the other hand, when you eat the fruits of a person's property for 3 years, the b'nichse chavere kana, that establishes a chazakah that you bought it, to prove that you bought it. But to acquire, the act of a kinyan, to acquire it, it's not kind of, because you didn't improve the property by that. We had already before. If a person just cuts the branches of a tree in someone's property just to use for his animals to eat, but not to improve the quality of the tree itself, it's not kind of. So how could Allah say such a rule? So therefore Rav Nachman says, the name of Rabbi Baravua, the pshat of the Mishnah is different. We're not talking about a situation where a random person from the street comes and places things into your courtyard. Over here, we're talking about a courtyard of partners. Let's say you have people that own a house, and then the chutzah, the courtyard, the Mishnah always speaks about, is in front of the house. And in front of the house, you have the shared area of a courtyard that people walk through together. The Bahamada Kedi Loi Kapti. If you're bringing your animals and different things that you're putting there in the front yard, and that's a shared area, so the fact that the other shutuf allows you to put it there, he's not makbid, it doesn't mean that he gave away your rights for this place in the courtyard, that now it's yours to use this area. He didn't give you away those rights. But if in the front yard you're going and you're building walls, then that's something that he is makbid. So if he was quiet, that means that he allowed you to use that place, he gave it away for you to use for you. But the Gemara asks on this, how could this be? How could we make this distinction, even regarding shutfin? Just bringing in your things there. Could you say that because it's a partner, so therefore he's not particular about this, so the fact that he allows you to use it will not be a proof that he sold it to you, or that he sold you this rights? But Vatnan, we learned in the Mishnah regarding Nedarim, regarding a person that makes a neder, not to have any ano from his friend. Hashutvin shenodru ano zemizeh. Partners that one made a neder not to have any benefit from his partner. Asurin likanes lachatzer. So one partner may not even walk into, he himself may not even walk into that shared area in front of the house, that the place that they own, the chatzah they own b'shutfis. So what do you see from this? It must be that the reason is because the other shutuf is makbid about this. If we're going to say that the other shutuf is not makbid about this because it's a shared area in front of the house, so he allows you to walk through, just like he could walk through, you could walk through, and he doesn't care about it, he's meichel you, or he's mafkid it as far as you walking through is concerned. So if that's the case, so then even after you make a neder, you should be allowed to walk through there. You're not walking through his courtyard. That's the concept of the shutvis. The shutvis is that you are mafkir the courtyard for him to use it when he has to use it, and he's being mafkir to you that you're using it when you need to use it. So you're really walking through your courtyard. There's no akpada, so you're not really walking in his domain. So we don't say that though. You see here by a neder, it doesn't work like that. By a neder, even you are not allowed to walk through the courtyard because you made a neder, because you're having benefit from something that belongs to him. In other words, he's being makbid. True, you have a right as a shutuf, but you're walking through his courtyard. It's something that he's makbid on. Definitely, if that's the case, we should say that the same applies regarding putting down your ovim, putting down your animals in this area. Even if you're not building a wall, that he should be makbid, and therefore it should be a chazakah if he allowed you to keep it there. So, our Mishnah is a different case. We're not speaking about the front yard. That's what's always called a chotzer in the lashon of the Mishnah. Rather, here we're talking about the backyard. Over there, it's different. The Bahamad Kidi Loi Kapti. Over there, in the backyard, just putting your animals there, or chickens there, or other things there, the person is not makbid. When he wants, he'll tell you to take it out. It's easy to get it out. But building a wall, building more permanent things, that's something he's makbid on. So in the front yard over there, a person's makbid for anything, because he has to walk in and out, and when it gets in his way, so he's upset about that. But in the backyard, though, over there is where our Mishnah said that he's not makbid. Another answer, both the Mishnah here and the Mishnah in the Nedarim is talking about the front yard owned by partners. So why by the Nedarim do we say that you can't have ana, you can't walk through there because he's makbid, and over here we're saying that he's not makbid, so therefore it's no chazakah by the fact that you put down your stuff there? So the answer is because veke the kapti, veke the loy kapti. There are those people that are particular about you blocking the way in the front, and there are people that don't care. They can walk through, they don't care about this. So there's something like this and something like this. Now, when it comes to money, lukula. So over here, we're lenient about this. Meaning by money, we say that because there are some people, some shutfim that are not makbid, you're allowed to put your things there temporarily. That's like even like example today. You have a building and you have the front, the lobby, where people put their strollers or bikes or different things. There are people that are not makbid. You're allowed to keep your stuff there. And the Rashbam explains that when the Gemara here says Lokula, the Gemara means to say that otherwise, if we would know for sure that the person, the Pshutif, is makbid, you wouldn't be allowed to put your stuff there because there's a halacha of shoyel shaloi midas as a gazlan. If you borrow someone's space without asking him permission, you're a gazlan. So there's a shutif here, and you're putting down your things without his permission, you're a gazlan. But because over here, many people, the nature is that they're not makbid in a front yard for the shutif to put things there, so therefore we go to kula and say, you're allowed to put your stuff there. And if he didn't say anything over a period of time, you can't say, oh, I now have rights to put it there because you didn't say anything. As long as I'm not makbid, I wasn't makbid. But if I'll need the space to walk in and out and I'll decide to tell you to take it out, I still have the rights to tell you to remove your things. But Gabi Isure, when it comes to the issue of Isser, which is the neder, if you're over on a neder, it's a lav, lo yachal devarai. So for an Isser, l'chumre. Here we're machmer that if you make a neder, you're not allowed to walk through this area, of the shutif that you made a neder, not have an off from him, because many people are makbid, and you may be over on this lav. Another answer the Gemara says, Ravin Omar lo ilam lo kopti. The truth is that people are not makbid in the front yard for the shutfin to walk through there and to put their stuff there. People are not makbid about this. The question is, so then why in the Mishnah by Nedarim, if you make a neder, do we say that the shutf can't walk through this area if the other shutf is not makbid? So it's like you're walking in your own place. He was mafkid for you. He's not makbid at all. So then why over there can't you walk through there if you made a neder? The reason is, V'hamani Rabbi Eliezer. That Mishnah follows what Rabbi Eliezer said, that even in such a case, you can't have a no. The Tanya, in Abraisa we learned, Rabbi Eliezer was very makbid, or very machmer rather, regarding a person that made a neder not to have a no from his friend. And Rabbi Eliezer said, Afilu vitur aser b'mudar no. Even something which a person usually just forgoes on is something that is aser by a mudar no. The example Rabbi Eliezer says is, the Rashbam here says, is in the Gemara in Nedarim, when you have a person that's selling things. So let's say he sells 100 nuts for a certain price, but when he sells 100 nuts, he adds another few nuts that he's mevater on for the buyer. And that's the derech of sellers. So, but by a person that made a neder not to have enough from you, you're not allowed to add those few nuts, even though you add it to everybody, and you're mevater on that. You're not. It's not like you're giving a gift extra. The nuts that you paid for, you're not having enough from you. You paid for that. But even these extra nuts that he's usually mevater on, but Rabbi Eliezer says, but the fact is, those extra nuts he didn't pay for, you're not allowed to have an offer from it. So over here as well, this partner is taking mevater on this, but nevertheless says the fact is you're having an offer from his portion of the shutvis of his property, you can't have an offer from that. But legabe a chazaka, you can't establish a chazaka because this is something that the person is not makbid on. Rabbi Yochanan, Mishum Rabbino. Rabbi Yochanan said in the name of Rabbino regarding a shared courtyard, regarding any kind of usage or putting things into a front yard, one shutif could stop the other of putting his stuff there. Chutz min hakvisa, besides doing the laundry, that you can't stop the women of doing their laundry there in this court in front yard. The reason is Chachamim instituted this. It's a special takanas Chachamim because she'ein darkan shel bnei Yisrael is bazis ala kvisa. It's not the right thing for the women that they should have to go to the river and there do the laundry, because there, when they do the laundry, they pick up their clothes, their garments, and they uncover themselves. They're not so tzniizdik, and if they're doing it out in a public space, so it's not the right thing for a woman to do her laundry there. So therefore, Chachamim instituted that you must allow the women to do their laundry in the front yard. In connection to this, the Gemara brings the pasuk that says, "Va'otzim einov me'ra'is bera," one that closes his eyes from seeing something that's bad. Amar Abchie Barabba. What is this referring to? This is a person that's not looking at the women. At the time that they're standing and doing their laundry. So this person, the pasuk is saying that he's a tzaddik. This is a person that's on the level of a tzaddik, and because he's not looking at these women. So the Gemara asks him this: what's this statement that Abchie Barabba said, that a person that's not looking on the women, so he's a tzaddik? The pasuk over there, the beginning of the pasuk over there, it is hoilich tzedakah, is doiver misharim. This is a person that's on a high level because he's not looking at these women. If there's another pathway to go, not in that area where the women do their laundry, and this person is going there, so then Rashahu. So if he would go there, he's a Rasha. It's not a special thing that a person that's not looking is a tzaddik. He has another way to go, so she should go in another way. If you go there, you're a Rasha. If there is no other pathway to go, so he must pass through this area. So then onasu. So then it's an einus. This is the only way to travel, only way to go. So then the fact that he's going there and seeing these women that are doing their laundry, it's an einus. It's out of his control. So the pasuk must not be speaking about it. So who is this pasuk speaking about? That it's praising that he's a tzaddik, that he doesn't look at these women when they do their laundry. Answers the Gemara, the case really is that there is no other way to go and he has to pass through here. But nevertheless, he should force himself, he should still turn his eyes away, turn his head away when he must go through that place. And on that, the pasuk is saying that he's a tzaddik, that he's looking away even when it's a pathway that he must go through here. Rabbi Yechanan asked from Rabbi No, we had before Rabbi Yechanan also that said in the name of Rabbi No, the Gemara brings also that he asked from Rabbi No, Chaluk shel Talmid Chacham keitzad. The garment that a Talmid Chacham wears, the way they would wear those days, the garment's basically a long robe down to the floor. So this garment of the Talmid Chacham, how is it? What does it cover? Kol she'ein b'sarei nire mitachtav. As long as there's no flesh that you can see from beneath this garment. According to the Rashbam, what this means is that the garment is long enough that it covers even the feet, all the way down to the bottom, and you don't see anything. According to other Rishonim, it means that the garment is thick enough that you can't see through the flesh of the body. Talis shel Talmid Chacham keitzad, the talis, the garment, the overgarment. This is the second layer of the Talmid Chacham. What kind of garment does he wear? Kol she'ein chalukai nirem mitachtav tefach. That it's long enough that you don't see the undergarment. At least the tefach, it goes all the way down to the bottom. That only a tefach would be sticking out. The Rashbam says it's even better if it covers completely the other garment that's under, that you don't see anything. Another thing, shulchan shel Talmid Chacham keitzad. How does a Talmid Chacham set up his table to eat? So what the Gemara is saying is, you'll see here, is based on the fact that in those times they didn't have the counter area where they would have the space where they put the food that they prepared, and then the table where you ate. The table itself was the place that you ate, and was also the counter area where the food was being prepared and put on. So how is the table of the Talmid Chacham set up? Shnei shlishei gedil, 2/3 of the table is gedil. Gedil means a tablecloth. It's called a gedil because you weave the tablecloth. And shlish gloi, and then the third is uncovered with the table. It's not covered with the tablecloth. And va'olav kaitis, and on that area which is uncovered, that's basically like a counter area. And you put on it kaitis, the plates, the larger serving plates, and the yerek, and the vegetables that a person is cutting and preparing for the person to eat. So in order to not to get the tablecloth dirty and the person could eat like a mensch, so you have the area that you put the pots and the food that you're preparing, and then in front of him you have the area where he has a tablecloth that he eats from it. Now the tabatoi, the rings of the table, this is in those times, the tables had rings on them, and they would hang these tables on hooks. They didn't have that much space in the house. They would hang these tables on hooks, and the tables had rings on them. Mibachutz, where should those rings of the table be? When you set up the table, it shouldn't be on the side, on the inside where the person is actually sitting, but the rings should be on the outside. So like this, it doesn't bother the person when he's eating. But in the Braisa we learned that the place of those rings on the table is on the inside, on the side where the person is eating, not on the outside. So the Gemara gives a few answers about this. It's not a question. The iki yenuke. Over here, where you have a child that's sitting together with you and eating, so if you're going to have the ring on the inside in the place where you're eating, the child's going to play with this ring and he's going to pull the table, and the table is going to turn over. Practically, so you put the ring on the outside. And if you don't have a baby, a child that's sitting with you, so then you can put the ring on the inside. By saying another answer, in both cases you don't have a child with you, and it's not a question. Over here, where you have a servant that's serving you the food, so over there you don't want to have the ring on the outside because the servant that's serving the food could bump into that ring. Here, where there's no servant serving you, so then you can have the ring on the outside. No one's going to bump into it. Another answer you can say, in both cases you have a servant serving you the food, and there's no question, if you're eating during the day, so the servant will see the ring. He'll be careful not to bump into it, so you can have the ring on the outside so it shouldn't disturb you when you're eating on the inside. But if it's at night and you have someone serving you, so then you want to put the ring on the inside, so the one that's serving you should not bump into that ring. Okay, this is the table of a Talmid Chacham. Now, v'shal Am Haaretz, the table of an Am Haaretz, daime lemedura, it's like a fire Kaderis makifus laisa. When you make a fire and you have pots that are around this fire, all around this fire, they would have a fire, and then they would take coals out of this fire in the middle to use for the pots on the side to heat up the food. So the table of an amoritz, that is set up in this way as well. Meaning, the way he sets up his table is he puts the food, he puts a tablecloth on the entire table, then he puts the pot of food that you're going to serve from in the center of the table, and from there the people on the sides, everybody can take as much as they want from the pot that's in the center. Right, so because the people, the Amaratzim, they want to have as much food as possible and to just eat as much as they can, and they don't care if they get the whole tablecloth dirty, so therefore they put it in the center and then everybody takes the food from around. That's the table of an Amoritz. Okay, let's just finish the two dots here. Gemara says, Mito shel Talmid Chacham, Talmidei Chachamim Keitzad, the beds of a Talmid Chacham, how is it set up? Kol she'ein tachtea el sandlim b'imay sachama, they placed under the bed only the sandals of the sandals of the summertime, they leave it under the bed. Okay, and the shoes in the winter time. Okay, so in other words, the point here is that they only store under the bed either the sandals in the summertime that they use in that time, or the shoes that they use in the wintertime. That's the only thing that they store under the bed. They don't store any other things, any other kalim or any other food under the bed, because whatever else you store under the bed, you're not supposed to eat from it. You're not supposed to use it from things. You're not supposed to store things under the bed. That's the bed of a Talmid Chacham. But a bed of an Amoritz, daimer la'itzer bolos. It's like a treasure where bolos means all kinds of things that are mixed there. They put everything under the bed, all kinds of things. They leave there, even food and kalim as well, which is not supposed to be kept under the bed.